Hello, and welcome back to another edition of Carrie's Gardening Channel. So today is August 11th, 2019, and I wanted to give you an update on my Mr. Stripey heirloom tomatoes that I have growing in the greenhouse. Now, I did do a video on this when I first planted the tomato in the container, and you can see what all plant foods I used. This one here has more of the red stripes in it with the yellow. And I am going to be taking these off here. Take this one here. The plant did actually reach the height of the ceiling and then it fell over. But, you can see how much these plants grew. Now, the plant itself actually grew the whole way up to the greenhouse ceiling, and then the stems fell over because there was nothing to hold it into place. My cage was only so tall, and I never got to tie it fast to the wires that went across where I put my baskets on. So it did fall over, as you can see over there, it fell over. And I am growing this one here in the greenhouse. Mr. Stripey is an heirloom tomato, and it's an Old English hothouse variety. And then I am growing a Mr. Stripey down in the hollow garden. So I wanted to see which one would do the best between the greenhouse and the hollow garden for the Mr. Stripey tomatoes. We tried growing them in our other garden, and they did okay. Mr. Stripey can be a little bit finicky to grow. So I tried a few different things this year to see if we could get a higher yield out of it and to see if it would grow better. So Mr. Stripey dates back to the 1800s, and it was brought here by the Virginia Mennonites from the old country. Now, from my understanding, it originated over in the UK, and it was specially done for greenhouses to be grown in them, and it can tolerate like the cooler soils and the excess moisture that the UK has. And I do have to say that it does grow very well in the greenhouse, and it did very well down in the hollow garden, which is where we originally used to grow Mr. Stripey tomatoes at when we first got the variety. And it's one that we do really enjoy growing. Now, Mr. Stripey is a beautiful bicolored tomato, and the coloring can vary from plant to plant and from tomato fruit to tomato fruit. Now, this one here, we had blanched it and it was peeled, and you can see all the beautiful colors that are in it. Now, this particular tomato here is a lower acid tomato. It doesn't have that real bite to it. It's really sweet. So that's one of the reasons why we really like this tomato. Now, there are a few things that can affect the flavor of your tomatoes, like the growing climate, how much they're getting fed, for the type of nutrients that are in the soil. Now, we fed ours with Gardens Alive, Tomatoes Alive, and it also got some of the Epsom tomato tone, and it did get some Epsom salt, and we did put a little bit of sugar in the planting holes when we planted them in the hollow garden, so that it just makes your tomatoes a little bit sweeter. And I'll have links down in the description for the plant foods that we used to feed these tomatoes with. And Mr. Stripey gives the nice, very large tomatoes off of it. So sometimes you don't always see as many tomatoes on the plant as you do some of the other varieties, but it does give the very nice large tomatoes off of it. And it is an 80-day tomato, which means 80 days from transplanting your tomatoes out into the garden, they should start getting the tomatoes on them. Now, again, weather and what you feed them and the growing conditions for where they're growing at can affect how quickly they mature to start giving. Now, Mr. Stripey is an indeterminate tomato, which means it gives over a long season. and it does need to be staked for sure. Go ahead and give it a cage, or you can put them on a fence, but if it does get really heavy, it can buckle your fences down, which we did find that out down in the hollow garden, where the fences are just having a hard time holding the weight from all the tomatoes. So I will be showing you the Mr. Stripeys that are growing down in the hollow garden in this video, and I'll show you that right now. So we'll be right back. So today is September the 4th, 2019, and the tomatoes, here's a Mr. Stripey here. You can see those are just coming on like crazy. There's a 4 cluster there of them. Now some of those aren't quite ripe yet, but some of them are. And there's another Mr. Stripey back in there. Mr. Stripey is one of our favorite heirloom tomatoes. And it's a variety that I've been collecting seeds from for probably about, I think maybe 10 years now. And I've been replanting my own seeds because it is an heirloom. And one thing with Mr. Stripey when harvesting it, sometimes you do have to harvest Mr. Stripey when it still does have some green in it. If you feel on the tomato fruit itself, you'll feel where it's starting to get like a little soft. And you do have to watch that they can smash very easily, or the skin can get damaged on them, which will cause the tomato to start leaking juices out of it, and you don't want that to happen. So that is something that you want to watch out for with the Mr. Stripeys. But if you've never grown Mr. Stripey before, I highly recommend giving it a try. Like I said earlier, it's one of our favorite tomatoes to grow, and we will be continuing to grow it. And I will grow it though down in the hollow garden. I don't think I'm going to try it in the other garden. And I do know that it does grow and gives very well in the greenhouse as well. So I hope you enjoyed my video on Mr. Stripey. So if you like my video, please like, comment, subscribe. Please don't forget to hit the little notification button. That'll tell you when I put a new video on. You can also follow me on Twitter. I'll have a link down in the description for my Twitter account. Thank yous for watching, and I hope you have a nice day. Bye!